Round 1. As a team, your objective is to assassinate all members of the assigned target team.
And thank you for the introduction, Animus Lady. Hello there, sir and or madam. This is Norris, and I am bringing you yet another Manhunt gameplay on Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. It's not as if you've seen 100 of these from me already, but I guess something a little bit different with this one than what I usually upload is that usually when I play Manhunt, I play it with like at least one teammate. I partner up with at least one person. That's not the case. Flying solo in this one, and I don't know, I also usually tend to run into people who don't group up in Manhunt. That is also not the case. I'm going up against an actual team of players. That totally makes this a competitive match. Totally makes this competitive. And I don't even care if they aren't that good of a team or anything like that. Just because they're a team, that definitely makes this competitive. Right? Right?
Contract
okay.
lost.
So, basically, yeah, this is competitive by any means. It's just I'm going up against people who happen to know what they're supposed to do. At least for the most part. But, anyways, yes, playing some Brotherhood again as the Animus Lady gets some Alzheimer's, and apparently I guess that she already did the introduction. But, anyways, yes, just sort of wanted to, I guess upload something Assassin's Creed multiplayer related or whatever. And as I'm sure you can probably notice, yes, I do have Smoke Bomb on the offensive round of Manhunt. Oh, so cheap. But I don't know, I don't really use it. For the most part, I think I'm only offensive Smoke Bomb one guy. And it was more or less to figure out who he was rather than trying to mobilize him and take advantage of that. But, yeah, I do end up offensive smoke bombing one guy. I don't actually use it at all. Well, not at all, but I hardly ever use it anyways. So, you know, there's me trying to justify me having smoke bomb in the offensive round. But, that guy's pretty ballsy, bringing poison to a Manhunt game, playing with randoms and all that stuff. People take those things, you know. Especially with randoms, they take those things all the time. But yes, got my first streak. Only get 2 this game, spoilers, but I wasn't really aiming for anything like super ridiculously high. I basically just wanted to do decently, I guess. I don't know, I at least wanted to beat the guys, that's all I really wanted to do. But here's a moment where I forget that I don't have Templar's vision anymore. Yeah, that's kind of embarrassing. So I end up using the secondary arrow on the compass to figure out who my target is. Really gotta learn to take advantage of what they give you in this game. And here, I definitely planned this out. I totally ran out there because I knew that he was gonna drop down and throw that smoke bomb. It definitely wasn't because I just wanted to get an acrobatic, and it sort of played out to where it looked like I expertly dodged his smoke bomb when he was trying to defend himself. That was totally all planned out right from the beginning by me, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Okay? Glad we cleared that out. But, yeah, I sort of wanted to talk about something in this video, hence the commentary. Usually when I do commentaries, there's at least something that I want to get out there. And, is it any tips or tricks or anything for how I make my playstyle successful? I know people are starting to look down on the tips and tricks things, because, I don't know, it's apparently telling people you should play the game like this. And with me, it was never about that. It was always, this is how I play, this is how I make it work. If you want to try it, go on ahead. And here's that instance where I was talking about where I couldn't quite figure out who was who. So I used the smoke bomb to pinpoint who it was, and then I guess I sort of took advantage of the fact that they were immobilized to give myself a free hidden. So yeah, I offensive smoke bomb someone, sue me. But, yeah, this isn't one of those tips or tricks videos, or one of those where I just sort of talk over the gameplay. I guess overall I just wanted to talk about Assassin's Creed multiplayer in general, and like where it's going for me at least. And for the most part, I think I'm pretty much done with the Assassin's Creed series. I've just lost interest in it at this point, and I know the title in the video is Back to Brotherhood or whatever, but don't try and misread that. I haven't gone back to playing Brotherhood. This was recorded back in early October or something, and I just still have yet to post it, until now at least. And yeah, I've just basically lost interest in the series at this point. I don't know. I guess it's more or less a battle of variety versus consistency with me. And in case you didn't know, I consider Brotherhood to be the consistency portion, and Revelations and Assassin's Creed 3 to be more the variety. But I don't know, I just don't enjoy playing the multiplayer that much anymore. With Brotherhood, it isn't about like, oh, it's so broken or whatever that I can't stand playing it or whatever. It's just, I've been playing it so much for so long that it's just gotten really dull, because like I said, it's very consistent in that usually the same scenario will play out over and over and over, and when that tends to happen for like 2 years, you eventually get tired of it. But yeah, basically I'm starting to get bored of playing Brotherhood. It's starting to lose my interest and all that stuff, because it's really just the same thing. I mean, if you look over the videos that I put out of this game, mostly it's been Manhunt, the occasional Assassinate gameplay, but I haven't posted one of those in a long time. But mostly been Manhunt, and you'll see patterns. You'll definitely see patterns. It's pretty much as bad as this makes me sound. It's basically just the same video over and over and over. So yeah, I basically sort of lost my interest in Brotherhood at this point. It's just gotten boring for me. And if you know anything about me, then you know I hate Revelations. I hate it. I can't stand playing it. And I guess that's more where the variety comes in. With me, I refer to it as inconsistency, so that way it makes it sound more negative to prove my point further, I guess. But it's more variety with the way they design the mechanics, you know, things like being able to throw abilities, being able to use them mid-animation, all that kind of stuff that leads to more variety in the gameplay. It leads to, I don't know, possibly limitless situations coming out of the same this limitless outcomes coming from the same situation, I guess. And some people prefer that. There are people out there who, I'm pretty sure, prefer Revelations to Brotherhood. Granted, I think you were dropped on your heads as babies, but that's your opinion. I'll leave you to it. I just happen to prefer Brotherhood. I prefer the consistency over the variety. That's just my thing. And yeah, when Revelations first came out, it was actually really different from Brotherhood, and I guess I'm one of those people where it's like, I don't like change, so I couldn't get into it from the start, because it was just, like I said, so different from Brotherhood that it just felt really weird to me playing it because of how different it was. And later on, when I really started seeing all of the inconsistencies, all of the balance issues, I guess, I don't know, it's not like I'm gonna stop playing a game just because one or two things in it are really overpowered or whatever. It's just, I just didn't enjoy playing it. I didn't like the fact that you could have like 10,000 different outcomes out of one situation. The way I like things is that if the same set of I can't really word it right, but basically if the situation, if it builds up, if the same build-up of the situation, or basically if the build-up of the situation is the same, I kind of expect the outcome to be the same. And when it's different, that sort of bothers me, and that led to some really bad things with Revelations and with Assassin's Creed 3, it was just so uninnovative in pretty much every aspect. It's basically Revelations. Granted, it's a better version of better. Whatever. It's a better version of Revelations, but it's still Revelations at its core. Everything is basically the same. They only changed around a few minor things. So it doesn't really feel more like its own unique multiplayer. It feels more like, I don't know, just like a patch for Revelations. And, you know, with that comes a lot of the same issues with Revelations. I don't like the inconsistencies with it. Again, that's just my personal preference. You know, if you like it, more power to you. I'm not saying it's a bad game or anything. It's a good game. It's just, it's not to my personal preferences and tastes. It's just not something I particularly enjoy playing that much.
30 seconds remaining.
And, I don't know. I guess that sort of led to me sort of losing interest in the series as a whole because, I'm not sure if you know this, but I always bought the Assassin's Creed games for the single player, and when Revelations came around, I sort of started to lose interest in the whole gameplay aspect of everything because that was really where it started to feel like everything was basically just the same game over and over and over and over and over again, with you know, basically the same combat, same free running, all that stuff. They basically just added in like one or two little things, and that was it. So it didn't really keep me interested at all, and the story was and with the story, with Revelations at least, it was just predictable in pretty much every aspect. I mean, you knew exactly what was going to go on throughout the story, and switch to another gameplay magically. The power of editing. Guess you're going to get a double gameplay with this one, because I can't shut up. But, basically with the single player of Revelations, it was just uninteresting. It was predictable. It was boring. It was just something that you've seen so many times before that you know exactly what's going to happen, so nothing really catches you by surprise, or nothing about it was just really innovative or interesting. I mean, you know that Ezio and Altair are going to die. I mean, it's just common sense. It's not as if they're going to suddenly become immortal and live to be like 1,000 years old or whatever. You kind of expect these guys to die, and the big reveal or whatever was basically just a video representation of the catastrophe we learned about in Assassin's Creed 2. For a game called Revelations, nothing was revealed. It's just basically restating information that we already know. And yeah, it was just really disappointing. And with Assassin's Creed 3, I just really wanted it to be good. I really wanted to like that game, but it's just like Revelations. It's just like Revelations. I mean, the gameplay, it feels exactly the same as it does with every other game. Although with the combat, it seems to have progressed more in the combat style back towards Assassin's Creed 2. And it's not a bad system at all. I mean, if it was a bad system, then it would have been something that was brought up in Assassin's Creed 2, because, you know, those combat mechanics are pretty much the same. But after Brotherhood and Revelations came out, and you could see basically what you could do with the combat systems in those games, you basically had a lot of options in Brotherhood and Revelations. You had a lot of stuff to play around with in that game. And in this game, it sort of feels like they regressed back towards Assassin's Creed and Assassin's Creed 2, in which you're more or less forced into, you know, the same, just sit in a defensive stance, wait for them to attack and counter based off of their archetype. It basically feels like they just regressed back into Assassin's Creed 2. And like I said, it's not really bad. It's just that I prefer Brotherhood and Revelation system because of the ability to basically have more variety in what I'd like to do with the combat system. I don't know, me personally, I really love the fact that you could do all these insane execution streaks and take down like entire platoons of guards in like 30 seconds flat. I thought that was awesome, and I do that all the time, and with Assassin's Creed 3 you couldn't really do that because a lot of the enemy archetypes, well, actually I think there were only like 2, but you ran into them a lot, they just flat out ended your execution streak, and it just more or less forced you back into the defensive playstyle when preferably I would have preferred it had they allowed the same amount of freedom with the combat styles that they did in Brotherhood and Revelations. I'm not trying to say that Assassin's Creed 3 was a bad game, or is a bad game, or anything like that. It's a disappointing game. And not entirely sure how I couldn't kill that guy. I mean, I was right next to him. I was kind of hoping it was like a little bit laggy and I'd sort of punch the air and then he'd die, but I guess not. But yeah, it was just disappointing. I mean, And with the story, it's surprising how much like Revelations Assassin's Creed 3 is. At least just in the general presentation and all that stuff. With the story, it was just really predictable. I mean, Connor's story, it basically just felt like a copy and paste of Ezio's story in Assassin's Creed 2. You know, your family gets killed and now you're out on this revenge-driven adventure or whatever. Oh, you add in about 500 lines of "Where's Charles Lee?" and then you get Connor Kenway. And with the story of Desmond, oh god,
30 seconds.
they handled that so poorly, just so poorly. I mean, 5 years they've been building him up to be like the greatest thing that will ever happen to humanity. He's going to be like the greatest person ever. They've been building it up 5 years for him to basically become this character. And you started to see that in this game. You sort of started to see he was going out on missions and all that stuff. He was actually doing this stuff. And it sort of felt like they were sort of trying to have him take off as this sort of character. But then they just killed him off. Quite literally, they just killed him off. And the ending, I guess I sort of spoiled everything. Yeah, Desmond dies, yada yada yada. But that's not exactly why it was very bad. To me, at least, it was a very bad ending. It wasn't because he died. It was because I got no satisfaction out of it. I felt like I was gypped. You know, like I said, 5 years of building him up, and they started to sort of realize what he could become, but there was definitely not enough payoff at all. He definitely could have had a lot more on-screen time. He definitely could have done more in the game, at least to me, to make it feel as though the 5 years of just building him up to basically be a god, and it just was never realized, and it was just so disappointing, and especially because of why he had to die. I mean, the ending to Assassin's Creed 3, I don't, it may be a little bit harsh to say this, but it feels like it was just so terrible that it just ruined the whole series for me. That seems kind of harsh, but that's really what it feels like. It was that bad. And I don't know. In a stage as late as Assassin's Creed 3, I mean, I was with the series from the beginning, since Assassin's Creed 1 back in 2007, I think. And I don't know, at that point, like I said, I had gotten tired of the gameplay, so really the only reason why I was getting Assassin's Creed 3 was because it was supposed to be the finale, the great big finale to Desmond's story. And you know, that was kind of why I bought it, because I wanted to see how things turned out for Desmond. How he managed to solve the problem, how he managed to do things, how he managed to save the world and all that stuff. And it just fell flat in every aspect, and oh, my blood is starting to boil just thinking about it. It really did ruin the series for me, because like I said, 5 years of them building up this character just to have it be nothing but a waste. He hardly does anything, and he just ends up dying for some bullcrap little cutscene about 5 seconds of the Earth being covered in like these magical lights that somehow save them. I don't think I would have minded the ending so much had they actually had it make sense, because the way it works out is that you put in these power sources, and then Juno comes along and tells you about all these different solutions that they were working on to try and save the planet. And it just made no sense whatsoever. You couldn't figure out some way to power this actual barrier to protect the Earth, yet somehow you could make it so that you could magically phase in this magic space shield that will protect you. And it's powered by human wishes? What? That makes no sense. And it was just such a poor presentation and execution, and it just completely ruined the whole thing for me. And I might go into a little bit of detail with this later. I know it feels like I've been talking about this a lot. Pretty much been talking over the whole game about this, but there's just so much that I feel like I have to say about this, and I don't really want to go on too much in this video about it. I guess I just sort of wanted to get across the whole thing about how I basically just lost interest in the series at this point. I might still post gameplays from it from time to time. I might still play it with like friends or something, but if they come out with any more of the games in the series, I'm not going to be getting them. And you're probably not going to be seeing a lot more Assassin's Creed content from me. Well, there goes all my subscribers. I probably just lost my entire fan base right there. But, yeah, basically just wanted to go on ahead and get out there and say that, I guess I'm sort of repeating myself at this point, but I've just lost interest in the series. It's just it's sort of been something that I've kind of been into for a while, but I guess I've gotten to the point where I'm just, I guess, ready to move on and do something else. But yeah, it was fun for the most part while it lasted, and again, it's not as though I'm trying to say that this series is bad or whatever. It's just that I guess what I'm trying to say is that for the last couple of games, you know, Revelations and Assassin's Creed 3, they didn't really do it for me, I guess. They didn't really end on a high note for me. It's sort of fizzled out at that point, and yeah, it just wasn't that appealing to me. If you like it, then hey, more power to you. But yeah, at this point, the series is kind of dead for me. Just kind of wanted to get it out there and say that. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I actually have a couple more gameplays that I can post. Might do that, but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you later. Bye.